Devil's Lair Grandmaster. You want to get it done, so let's get into it. Hopefully we're good for a stable week of the game this weekend. It's been very rough the last few days, which is why this guide is late, but crazy weapon crafting glitches, DDoS attacks. Yeah, let's hope that's done with. But anyway, back to the GM. We've got the Swarm ADEPT LMG to go for this week, which is pretty non-exciting in my book. The role that I'm going for, I don't really care about it too much, but is Feeding Frenzy and Target Lock. Don't be too upset if you can't get a good roll. Just go for a Song of Ear Ute from Crota's End, or even a seasonal LMG if you want a good arc LMG. But Grandmasters are a great way to farm materials as well, so you do want to do them when you can. And since Devil's Lair is one of the easiest Grandmasters to do, this is a great time to stock up on materials if you still need them. Okay, so as far as team composition here, we don't have to be too strict. I'll just let you know what my team ran. You will see me running with the Strand Hunter, and don't worry, I will have a detailed guide for this Tangle Master Hunter coming soon. It's a lot of fun. It is also very powerful. It's going to give you solid protection with easy access to Woven Mail through grappling, as well as heavy damage output with Quicksilver Storm and the Silk Strike super ability. Quicksilver Storm will give us tons of tangles to work with that will clear out entire groups of enemies by just shooting the tangle. I brought a hand cannon in just to help stun Overload champions if I needed to, but I hardly pulled it out because I have my trusty Circular Logic machine gun here to help with those Overload champions. Go with a rocket launcher to match the Solar or Strand Surge if you want to do more damage instead. Feel free to use a Galahorn if that's what you want to do. I'm sure that would work very well with the Solar Burn. Just make sure you have something to cover Overload champions. Next, of course, we will be bringing in a Well of Radiance Solar Warlock using Cenotaph for nearly unlimited heavy ammo. Very powerful. This player was actually using Divinity as well to help deal with the Overload champions, so the ultimate support player, but it's going to provide us with a lot of damage to deal with those Overload champions. If you haven't tried Divinity for Overloads, I would highly suggest it. It's just makes everything easier. This player should also bring an auto rifle to help handle barrier champions, and a Solar or Strand rocket launcher to do more damage to champions and to the boss. And lastly, the third class doesn't matter too much. Really, the only quote-unquote necessary class is the Solar Warlock here. But we tried one run with a Stasis Warlock, like the Frost King build, and another one with a Void Hunter. Both did great. Our clear was a little bit faster with the Void Hunter using Tether because you can do a little bit more damage, but we did have more enemy control with that Frost King Stasis Warlock, so whichever area you're struggling in, just use either one of those. This third player should also be using a rocket launcher or LMG to help deal with the Overload champions, as well as an auto rifle to deal with barriers. And that is the team composition. If you have something better that you liked, let me know down in the comments, but let's move on to the actual GM. For this first area, we have two things that can happen. Thing one is that you'll be able to skip past most of the enemies here by hugging the left side all the way to the end where we have an Overload Captain and a few other enemies. Just hang back in this spot and take everything out. Very easy. The second thing that can happen is that some enemies can actually get trapped in this building here and shoot you through the wall. You can't shoot them either. So if this does happen, just reroute over here and take out everything from the opposite side. You might have to clear out a few extra enemies this way, but it's not too bad. Once this area is cleared, it's time to move into the building where we have a few more enemies to deal with and a barrier knight. Only one barrier here, so take it out quickly and use all of these walls for cover. Not bad at all. Progress a bit further and you'll see another Overload Captain. Just hang back and stun it. Don't move forward too much because you've got wizards on the left, a lot of enemies out in front of you, and you'll die very easily. Both Hive and Fallen will be kind of in a little battle here. So again, just slowly move forward, creep forward, and take everything out. Once everything is cleared, you can activate the computer to where you will immediately want to bolt over to this kind of abandoned crashed vehicle over here and hide for the majority of this next wave-based encounter. Wave 1 will just be Fallen, and they will only approach you from the doors surrounding the area, so you're safe to hang right here and take out the approaching enemies. There will be a couple of Overload Captains that like to hang out in the middle area, and they'll dish out some serious fire if you don't deal with them quickly. Once Wave 1 is done, Wave 2 will start very quickly with a lot of Hive and a Barrier Knight that will spawn right on you. So make sure you're hiding behind this vehicle so you don't just die instantly. Most of the time, the enemies will make their way to the middle area. They start on you and then they progress to the middle. But just to be safe, hang behind this train thing. You'll also want to keep an eye out for the few Sniper Vandals that are on the catwalks. They'll hang back there and they will two-shot you if you're not careful. Wave 3, more of the same. Just make sure that you're never caught out in the open because you will die in less than a second. and you will be almost impossible to revive if you're too far away, until the encounter is over, that is. 2 more Overload Captains will spawn in here on wave 3 as well, so just keep hanging back, take them out. Once that's over, we can move forward to the next area. This is likely going to be the toughest part of the strike. The boss is very easy, a total cakewalk, so if you can make it through this area, you are going to be good. You'll come to a room with an Overload Captain first, easily take him out with the other enemies, and move forward to this next wide open area. We want to deal with the barrier servitor first, but not before taking out a couple sniper vandals if you can. Just hang back in this area. The warlock can pop a wall of radiance here if they want to. Stun that barrier when you can to remove the shields from all the surrounding enemies, and then take everything out. We ended up getting pretty lucky here because the barrier was kind of separated from the rest of the enemies. Most of the time he's going to hang like right in the middle. We've got 2 fallen brigs to take out, which have like 300 million health, tons of enemies and champions, and a really annoying scorpion tank on the other side that will continuously be trying to shoot you from across the map. If you can take out the scorpion tank early on. This will lead to a lot less uncalled for deaths and will allow you to focus on more of the enemies that are right in front of you. But if you can't take that scorpion tank out, don't worry, just utilize cover as often as you can to take out the brigs first. As mentioned, brigs have a ton of health, but they can actually be taken out with a single Silk Strike super, which is what I did here. You'll have a few Overload Captains kind of hanging out in the middle area. They will occasionally be shielded by the barrier servitors, making them an absolute nightmare to deal with. You'll want to hang back and make sure that these 2 champion types are separated from one another to take them out one at a time. One thing I like doing here as the Threadrunner Hunter is tossing any tangles I generate to the area where the scorpion tank is at. This is obviously going to clear out some of the many enemies that are waiting for you over there, but it's also going to help deal damage to the main tank. Main thing with this whole area is to never push up further than you have to. I guess that's kind of code for every Grandmaster ever. But it's always better to hang back and slowly kill everything versus die in the middle of a bunch of enemies and have to have your team handle things on their own. But yeah, tons of champions here in this room. This can definitely be a challenge. Once that scorpion tank is taken out, everything else is taken out, you're going to have a couple more Overload Captains spawn in. Thankfully though, you don't have too many enemies left at this point, and you should be able to tag team them no problem. And once we're done with this section, we can move through to the boss room, which is probably the easiest part of the entire GM. Just take out all the enemies to start this fight. You'll have 2 Overload Captains to deal with. Not very difficult at all. And then once the fight starts, have your Solar Warlock pop their Well of Radiance right here, just like we did, and then nuke that HP bar. Sepiks does not have a lot of health, thankfully, so this should be easy for you all. If things ever get too dangerous, all you have to do is hide in this side area where no enemies will ever be able to enter. They can still shoot you through the windows, but there's a lot of cover here and it's very safe. Sometimes you might not have a good view of Sepiks, but you will have a decent vantage point to all the other enemies that will spawn in the room. Once we hit that first HP breakpoint, Sepiks is going to go immune and surround itself with other small servitors. Until these are taken out, the immunity shield is going to stay up. Enemies will kind of keep rolling in here, so again, for the majority of the fight, you really don't have to be venturing out too far outside the room. Exploder shanks are going to pour in occasionally as well, so you definitely don't want to be around when those detonate. Just take out the baby servitors as you can, pop in and out as it's safe, and once that immunity shield is down on Sepiks, you can pop another well in the same spot and nuke the next part of the HP bar. Just like last time, retreat back to the safety room and wait for a couple more overloads to spawn in, take them out, and then start working on the baby servitors one more time. Just rinse and repeat. Lots of enemies rush you here, so I actually popped a super to help clear out the enemies to allow my teammates to continue to deal damage to Sepiks safely. And that's pretty much it. Very easy. Once you get this down, you can do this in under 20 minutes, maybe even less than that. Keep trying. I know it can be frustrating if you wipe a few times, but that's all part of the learning process. I hope this helped you get it clear. If it did, please leave me a comment and let me know. But have fun farming, everyone. That's it for me on this one. I will see you all in the Discord or in the next video.